And a second, and we've had discussion. All in favor of the item, please indicate by raising your hand. Looks like 6 opposed.
It's for the kids.
For the kids. Qualified, no. All right, the motion passes. Dr. Gray, I have 2 agenda items, one on the iPad and one a hard copy. And the hard copy shows that there's an item number 2 under.
That's correct. There is an item number 2 under info action items, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure where the disconnect came, but if I may, I know that this we're presenting this particular item at this point so that the chairman of the Finance Committee can report on the last committee meeting and then direct the superintendent further beyond that.
Before I call the chair of the Finance Committee, let me refer a question to either council or board attorney. When we approved the agenda at the beginning of the meeting, which one did we approve?
Well, I'll take a stab at it. I can only say the one that I think is in front of the board members that you were working from would be the one that included the item 2. I guess the board members, if you want to go in and say which one, and if that was not correct, I didn't have my iPad, so I didn't know that that was the case.
Right, the one that's posted on the screen, is that the one that the public was made aware of?
I believe the one that the public was made aware of included this item, because I actually pulled up the agenda this afternoon before I came to the board meeting, and it was still on there.
Okay, now that's the one I'm assuming is correct, but I will ask my colleagues, do you have any different understanding?
I do.
Okay.
I think there was an email that was sent at around 4 saying this item was going to be presented as information only and then brought back at some point for approval. And then there are 2 different items on Novus. There's the item that, or the agenda that does not include it as just the open item when you click on the date. And then as the PDF, it's the old item that included it.
Well, what's required of us right now is either through further discussion that we have clarity on what agenda that we're acting upon tonight, and I hope this doesn't happen again, so that we can all be on the same page.
So, Mr. Chair,
so I'm opening up. I'm opening now for comment and some action by the board.
Would it be appropriate to then just make a motion to adopt the agenda that was before us?
And clarify that was before us.
The ones that's printed as opposed to the ones that's on the on Novus or.
It would be appropriate, attorneys.
Yes, sir. We think it's a novel situation, but we think as long as the board does take some definitive action now to clarify its earlier action, it should be sufficient legally.
Okay, I am open to entertain a motion.
Then I so move that we use the final agenda that's before us as the agenda from which we are conducting this meeting.
Which states? What does it say?
States final agenda.
No. I mean, how are we supposed to handle this? Is it the information only on that? I don't have one of those. That's why I'm asking.
It's an information action item here.
Is it on the copy we have before us? It is information action item number 2. Clarity, Ms. Burke, is that the one you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, again, there is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Burke, second by Mr. Collins, that the agenda item, the hard copy agenda item we have before us is the one that we're asking for action be taken. Discussion.
Email correspondence that conflicts. Some board members had questions regarding this item and asked for additional clarification. And the email that was sent out by the superintendent's office before the meeting started indicated that this would be presented as an information item only with a report from the Finance Committee and then brought back at a later date with the additional information requested by board members for approval.
You have the authority as a board member to offer a counter proposal. We do have actions on the floor that we're going to either vote up or down.
I motion then that the agenda presented on Novus
We're in the middle
that
of a
does not
motion.
If you want to amend that motion, you can.
amend that it be presented as information only.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Rush. That this matter be presented as information items only. Is that correct, Ms. Love?
That is correct.
Okay. Let's vote on let's get some action on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yes.
Can
Mr.
you
Oakham.
repeat what we're, I guess,
Let me try to see if I can explain. We've have some confusion about the agenda item. One that's on our Novus, one that is a hard copy that we assume we were voting on when we approved the agenda item. And Ms. Love is sharing with us that prior to this meeting, there was an email from the superintendent that indicated it would be on the agenda as information items only. And so we need to have movement as a body of how we want to handle this if we handle anything at all tonight. So we had a motion in a second by Ms. Burton and second by Mr. Collins to accept this. And that would be superseded by the amendment, right, Ms. Sprague? So the amendment which has been moved in second is before us, and we're going to vote on that. And if it passes, then I think that supersedes the first motion. We will vote on it, and then what we're doing is voting on the amendment. We would have approved the amendment. And if it fails, then we go back to the original motion. Is that right, attorneys?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Glad you
Okay,
explained that.
I'm still confused.
Please go right ahead.
thank you, Mr. President. Sorry for cutting you off. Can we repeat that amendment again?
Ms. Love, would you?
The amendment would be that the item, the approval of consulting agreement between Malachi Financial Products and the Jackson Public School District, be presented as information only as opposed to information action as it's presented in the hard copy agenda that we were providing.
All right. I think that's pretty clear, but I've been wrong before. So, all in favor of the amendment that has been presented or discussed, please indicate by a show of hands. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the amendment has been approved. Now, I think I'm right. We go back to the original motion, which if that is approved, it is the amendment that we would approve. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'd like to have your action. We have a motion and a second. At least on actions for this item. So I think we're now at a point of any further questions. If not, all in favor indicate by show of hands. You understand? I think when we're voting, if we approve this, then the amendment is what we approved. Okay? So everybody voted on the amendment, which means it's going to be information items only. Okay? And so we have to go back to the original motion. So we voted down or voted up. Okay, again, all in favor indicate by show of hands.
Question, so the one we're voting on now is the amended one?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Okay.
No,
You amended your amendment had the effect of amending the agenda that
So you have-
Mrs. Burke first proposed. So now you're approving the agenda, but it's the agenda as amended because the amendment passed. So the information, the item would just be information only if you approve this action now.
Okay? I think there's still some uncertainty, so please
Yes,
say it.
So was
Yes.
was the amendment from Dr. Gray's office for information only? Yes.
According to the email he sent, and this is the point Ms. Love raised, and we did vote unanimously on that.
Okay, that's fine.
It will come up, but as information items only. Now, that supersedes the first motion and second.
Yes, sir. It changes the first
It first-
motion.
when I say Susan, it changes
Your motion is still to adopt the agenda, but now it's the agenda as amended because you approved the amendment. So when you vote to approve the agenda, if you vote yes, it would be including the Malachi item, but as information only.
Okay? Again, all in, yes?
No, just say all of that so we're on the same page, because I'm still a little lost in terms of, so if you make it plain like the attorney just did, then I will,
Or perhaps just ask her to restate.
yeah, just restate it, so all of us
We're
are on
back
the
to the original motion to approve the agenda. And because it's been amended, we're going to approve the agenda with the discussion of Malachi as an information items only. So you approved the amendment unanimously, and it is now that's before us as we amend the agenda.
Right.
It's okay? Wow. I'm glad I was trying. All right, all in favor of the item to amend the agenda, please let me know by show of hands. That looks like 7. Correct. All right, now we have,
Ms. Mumford, did you have a motion to
yes.
approve the agenda?
Yes,
A motion
yeah.
and a second?
That was
Okay,
by-
back to the original. Okay.
Yeah, we did. That was Ms. Burton and Mr. Collins. All right, now, attorneys, since this is an information items only, do we go back to now have that presented?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Dr. Gray.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, Board of Trustees, so let me just sort of explain why we are where we are. I don't think we, after having conversation with Mr. President, I don't think we thoroughly presented the committee report on this particular item. In addition to that, after the committee reviewed this, they had some questions. And so I would like for Mr. Collins, who's chair of the finance, to review the committee meeting and to reiterate those questions. He had a few last time we answered some. I think there were some more remaining.
If I could just make a comment and lead it into the chair's report. The board at our last meeting asked that this matter be further vetted out by the finance committee. And there was a good meeting, a good discussion on that. And the intent was to bring back that report this evening. So with that, Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board members, I promise you that my report will be a lot shorter than the exercise to approve the item. Again, as a part of the Finance Committee, to make sure that we are adequately representing this board as it relates to this item or any other item from a financial standpoint, we are still in the midst of discussions as it relates to this item. Obviously, the Finance Committee has some concerns still, and we know that the full board will. And so some of those questions that we posed previously, and again, I'll cite those here tonight, is that, number one, without any question whatsoever, what is it that we're asking Malachi to do? for this district. Number two, why is it necessary to be done now? Number three, how do we avoid duplication of services? And lastly, again, how can we possibly, if we approve this, reduce the cost? Now, that's a concern given some of our overall budgetary issues that we're now facing. So what we're coming to say to the board tonight is that given all of those questions and many more that might be present in your mind, is that we are having some ongoing discussions. We'll have some ongoing discussions relative to this issue before we feel comfortable enough, if we get to that point, to present this to the board. And we wanted you to be aware of that.
I like. Thank you, sir. I like Mr. Oppenheim. Any comments? You're on the.
No, I agree with Mr. Collins in terms of his assessment of our.
And before I open it up to any, as also a member of the Finance Committee, we were unanimous on this position. And also the superintendent, after discussions with the chair and with me, felt that it was, in his role, definitely a need to have further discussions. So it was no intent to have any action on this tonight, but we did want to let the superintendent at least bring it before us and then have Mr. Collins provide a committee report. And I would like to say this, that it's my intent that we work within the three committees to vet things out with the superintendent and his staff. And so when it does come before the board, it will have at least the committee taking a position on it. Ms. Love.
And so I would ask Tim, that was a great summary of what you guys discussed. The question that I would have is, at the end of the day, what's the ultimate benefit of their services to our students and staff?
Absolutely. Okay.
Any other questions? All right. That concludes that part of the discussion. Now let's move back to the order of the agenda, which is consented. Yes.
In what you said, Mr. Collins, would that include the scope of the work as a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's what
I think therein lies a portion of the concern. So, yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Now we're on item 9, consent agenda items, finance.
Good evening, Dr. Gray, Dr. Bird, members of the board. I present for your approval tonight the approval of accounts payable and activity fund claims for the period of February 8, 2014 through February 21st, 2014.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions before I ask for any action? Any questions about the finance report?